People say the Jog is very fuel efficient. So this time, let's tear down a Jog engine. I bought this engine myself at a wet market. I'm a bit nervous about opening the air filter, because last time I bought an engine at a parking lot. When I opened the filter, there was a whole nest of Jerry's mice inside. The appearance of this little cutie engine could be said to have led a structural revolution for joint venture 125 cubic centimeters engines. For example, Suzuki followed up with the Super Essential, and Honda came out with the ESP. Both followed the same technical route as Yamaha. The main features are reducing friction and lightweighting the piston. Look at its primary drive pulley. It's made by Jinan Hongzhong. Both the front and rear pulleys are from Hongzhong. This finish is because it's been sitting in a junkyard for a long time, so it's all rusted. Let me show you the secondary, rear, pulley. You can see the Hongzhong logo. The needle bearing in the middle is a German INA bearing, but it's manufactured here in China. Look at its clutch housing. Looks like it's worn down? But it doesn't really matter. Anyway, this engine was bought by weight. The belt is a Japanese Mitsuboshi. The curb weight of the Jog is only 90 kilograms. When I first saw that curb weight, I thought I had misread it. This is the idler gear, since it's motor started. This is its overrunning, starter, clutch. Why is the Jog engine called a blue core, Chuanghe engine? Now that we've disassembled it to this point, I can explain. First is the structure of the intake port. It creates a tumble or swirl flow inside the chamber, allowing for rapid combustion of the air-fuel mixture, including Honda's later ESP engines. You can check my teardown video of the Honda lead. The intake port structure was also changed there. The purpose for both is the same. The combustion chamber is designed as a hemispherical one. This is also to ensure complete combustion. The compression ratio of this engine is 11:1. It should be higher than Honda's ESP and Suzuki's Super Essential, right? Therefore, its thermal efficiency is also a bit higher. Let's remove the cylinder head and look at its structure. This is a SOHC, single overhead cam, 2-valve structure. The rocker arms are also roller rocker arms. The bearings are from CNU, 8 rings. Why is CNU everywhere? The small bearing on this side. No need to look, probably CNU too. Now let's look at the core of blue core technology. It's this DiASil cylinder, Yamaha's exclusive technology. This cylinder has better wear resistance and better heat dissipation. Unlike cast iron cylinders, it doesn't have a steel liner. It's also very lightweight. This thing combines the advantages of ceramic plated cylinders, but the cost can be kept lower than ceramic plating, because it doesn't require as many steps as ceramic plating. Yamaha is really the expert in cylinder tech. A magnet placed on a DiASil cylinder has absolutely zero attraction. On a ceramic plated cylinder, there is slight magnetism. Just a little tip for you guys. Look at its piston. It actually uses a forged piston. Unexpected, right? The piston skirt is also made very short. Looking at all the 125 cubic centimeters engines on the market, you probably won't find another bike with a forged piston. I wanted to see the brand of the piston rings, but I can't tell anymore. The tiny markings are worn and unreadable. Another key point of blue core, in my opinion, is piston lightweighting. whether it's Yamaha or Honda's ESP. Their pistons are all lightweight. Let's weigh the piston. 69.85 grams. Well, I don't know how much the carbon buildup weighs. Let's ignore it. If we replace this with a cast piston of the same volume, it would probably be about 10 g heavier. Because forged pistons have higher density. Then why can forging achieve lightweighting? It's mainly due to the structural design. Since it's stronger, they can remove more material. Right, another highlight of Blue Core, I think, is the offset cylinder. The center of the crankshaft and the center of the cylinder are not on the same line. This design, during the piston's reciprocating motion, can reduce power loss. It reduces friction between the piston and the cylinder wall. This is also done to save fuel. Additionally, there's an oil jet here. It sprays oil onto the piston and cylinder wall to lower their temperatures. Combined with the DiASil cylinder, it effectively reduces heat buildup. Let's look at the timing chain. This is a DiD timing chain. Talking about engine technology, I think Yamaha is still the one to beat. Look at Yamaha's triple cylinder, Yamaha's 270-degree crankshaft, Yamaha's cross-plane crankshaft, and Yamaha's VVA, variable valve actuation, like the NMAX 155, and Yamaha's T-Max twin cylinder. Oh, right. I also have a T-Max teardown video. I'll post it for you all later. Plus this DiASil cylinder. I feel that Yamaha's engine technology reserves are truly impressive. The oil pump is here. What I'm turning is the oil pump gear. Look at the crankshaft bearings. These crankshaft bearings are also CNU, 8 rings. Just how wide is CNU's business scope? Seriously, they are everywhere. This crankshaft is from Gaoyang. Check the bearings inside the transmission case. As expected, it's a CNU convention. A whole nest of CNU. Well, that's the complete teardown. Everything is great. Except I personally don't like CNU bearings much. Alright, thanks for watching. That's all for this video.